Theranos, a company built on the promise of a magical box that could transform the world of healthcare. The mastermind behind this grand illusion was none other than Elizabeth Holmes, a name that would soon become synonymous with corporate fraud on a staggering scale. To truly grasp the incredulity of it all, one must pause for a moment and reflect on the fact that Elizabeth Holmes managed to swindle a staggering $9 billion out of investors, all for the sake of a box that would ultimately bring her empire crashing down. The question that has perplexed experts and laymen alike is how such intelligent, accomplished individuals could fall victim to what can only be described as a monumental hoax. The answers, as we shall soon discover, lie in a combination of charm, charisma, and the relentless pursuit of a dream that turned into a nightmare. Elizabeth Holmes was a woman on a mission to redefine the world of medical testing and make her mark as a genius in the business world. This is the story of Theranos, the lie that shook Silicon Valley to its core.
Her mouth is not reality.
She never thought she had any limits. She was going to conquer the world.
This was real lunacy.
Can you tell us a secret?
I don't have many secrets.
To understand the origins of the Theranos scandal, one must delve into the life of Elizabeth Holmes, a woman born into a family with an intimate knowledge of fraud. Her father, Christian Rasmus, had once held a prominent position as the vice president at Enron, the infamous energy company that went bankrupt in the wake of a multi-billion-dollar fraud scandal. Her mother, Noelle, had worked in various government agencies, a world that often blurs the lines between legitimacy and deception. Perhaps it was the exposure to such an environment that set the stage for Elizabeth's unconventional journey. She enrolled at Stanford University to study chemical engineering, but lasted only a year before dropping out. Her brief time at Stanford would be but a mere footnote in her life story. After leaving college, Elizabeth embarked on a brief overseas adventure that would introduce her to the man who would become her partner in crime. Sunny Belwani, a Pakistani native and a former Microsoft employee, was as adept at spinning tall tales as Elizabeth. He claimed to have written thousands of lines of code during his tenure at Microsoft, a claim that remains dubious to this day. Their relationship, marked by a significant 19-year age gap, remained clandestine. It could have been the age difference, or perhaps the fact that they were allegedly the masterminds behind the Theranos scam. As the years passed, Sunny wisely chose to stay in the background, allowing Elizabeth to take the spotlight. At the age of 19, Elizabeth used her tuition money to fund her first foray into the world of startup companies within the consumer healthcare industry. Her initial venture faltered, but she displayed a remarkable resilience, bouncing back with another startup, this time named Real-Time Cures. She embarked on a mission to convince a select group of professors that it was possible to test a multitude of medical conditions with just a single drop of blood. Most experts saw through the fallacy, understanding that the science and technology of their time could not support such a grandiose vision. Yet, there was one exception: Professor Channing Robertson, the Dean of Engineering at Stanford, who inexplicably became a proponent of her idea. It is unlikely that the highly educated engineer was genuinely swayed by Elizabeth's vision. More likely, he saw the dollar signs and the opportunity for financial gain, even if it meant endorsing an idea that defied scientific reality. With a decorated academic on her side, Elizabeth was introduced to the world of venture capitalists. Over the next 3 years, Elizabeth Holmes underwent a remarkable transformation. She began to emulate her idol, Steve Jobs, adopting his signature black turtlenecks, deepening her voice,
Ability to get that type of test because
and exuding the aura of a board-certified academic and businesswoman. The once unassuming young woman had morphed into a commanding presence, portraying herself as a brilliant dropout with revolutionary ideas. She was the one who would change the world. With her new CEO Channing at her side and Sunny operating in the shadows, Elizabeth embarked on a mission to convince investors to pour nearly $100 million into her vision. They established laboratories staffed with scientists who were tasked with delivering prototype machines capable of testing minute blood samples with unparalleled accuracy. However, the technology proved elusive, and Elizabeth employed a tactic borrowed from her idol, Steve Jobs. She pitted two teams of engineers against each other, igniting a fierce competition driven by the fear of job loss. Theranos also forged a partnership with pharmaceutical giant Pfizer and began conducting tests on human patients. To secure approval, Elizabeth unabashedly fabricated data about her testing machine in her reports. Ethics and potential patient harm were of little concern when there were progress and profits to be made. When her chief financial editor discovered the deception and called her out, she promptly fired him and elected to forego any financial oversight within her company. By 2007, Elizabeth had managed to recruit the former Secretary of State George Shultz to her board of directors. It was in this year that Theranos emerged from stealth mode, boasting a board replete with esteemed individuals and enough financial resources, laboratories, and staff to rival a major corporation. The stage was set for Theranos to make its grand entrance into the world. Theranos burst onto the market with a resounding impact. Elizabeth leveraged her years in relative obscurity to unveil an arsenal of investors and experts, positioning herself as the self-made genius poised to revolutionize healthcare. She was young, intelligent, charismatic, and she certainly knew how to captivate an audience. She was about to make the world believe in the impossible. Elizabeth sold the world on the concept of a medical marvel, a box no larger than an average printer that could analyze a single drop of blood and transmit the data to one of her numerous labs. Within hours, patients could receive test results for a wide range of conditions, from herpes to cholesterol. It was nothing short of a medical revolution, and Elizabeth had successfully convinced the world that it was possible to diagnose liver disease through the internet. She christened this wonder box the Edison, and the world embraced it with fervor. The funds poured in, and in 2014, Theranos rolled out its revolutionary boxes to every Walgreens in the United States. It claimed to offer nearly 200 tests, but the bitter truth was that it could barely perform a dozen tests, and those with questionable accuracy. Despite the warning signs, even Elizabeth's expert-studded board began to express concerns. Their intention was to remove her from the company, even though she owned a significant 50% of it. However, Elizabeth deployed her remarkable powers of persuasion, convincing the board to keep her on. Those who resisted her agenda found themselves unceremoniously ousted, and the indiscriminate firing of employees became synonymous with Theranos' corporate culture. The company's obsession with Steve Jobs reached new heights as Elizabeth mimicked his practices, down to scheduling financial meetings on Wednesdays. She even hired former Apple employees to emulate the tech giant's culture and success. Her appearance, too, underwent a transformation as she slicked her hair back to appear more masculine, all in pursuit of the image she sought to project. Yet, the beginning of Theranos' downfall was not initiated by her copycat behavior or her attempts to emulate Steve Jobs. It was precipitated by a hungry journalist with an unquenchable thirst for truth. The Wall Street Journal published an expose that revealed the truth behind Theranos. It was using conventional methods for its tests. Vials of blood, not a single drop, were used, and test results took days or weeks to process. The Edison box, heralded as a revolutionary medical device, was in reality a non-functional prop. A nurse would draw blood, and the samples would be sent to a traditional lab for testing, a practice that was no different from any other clinic or hospital in the country. Even when Theranos relied on traditional methods, the test results often returned with glaring inaccuracies. As the truth began to emerge, Walgreens swiftly terminated its partnership with Theranos, and overnight, the company's value plummeted from $4.5 billion to zero. In 2018, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission formally charged Elizabeth Holmes and Sunny Balwani with fraud, alleging a staggering sum of $700 million in deception. As the legal battle loomed, Elizabeth discarded her iconic turtlenecks and slicked back hair for a disheveled, unassuming appearance. The trial that followed was nothing short of a theatrical spectacle, marked by the dissolution of Elizabeth and Sunny's long-standing relationship, which led to a vicious blame game. With Elizabeth Holmes and Sunny Balwani now behind bars, lingering questions remain. But one fact remains for certain. The Theranos scandal inadvertently spurred innovation in medical technology. While it fell short of Theranos' grand claims, the incident inspired the development of handheld devices capable of testing for various conditions with minimal blood requirements, signifying significant progress in the realm of medical diagnostics. Unlike Theranos, we're committed to providing you with accurate information. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Theranos saga, give us a like and subscribe for more riveting stories from the world of business.